All right, let's talk about CJ Stroud and the playoff-bound Texans. Still fun to see the Texans in the playoffs, and it's fun to see the Browns in the playoffs. Two teams that, especially with all the injuries the Browns have had, these two teams have had to really work to get where they're at, and it'll be fun to see one of them advance to the next round. I already made a video about Joe Flacco and the Browns offense against the Texans defense. Now we're doing the other side of things, the Texans offense against the Browns defense. So these are where certain positional groups have graded according to PFF, where they rate. So for Houston, there's actually an asterisk on the passing. CJ Stroud has been graded as the 14th overall quarterback out of 42 eligible quarterbacks. I decided to use his numbers instead of the overall team just because, Stroud did miss a couple games. The Browns coverage has been very good. The Houston receiving core has been very good, although again, for Houston, that is factoring in Tank Dell, who is, has been injured at this point. I still have Nico Collins, who I would argue has actually been the better player between the two this season. He's really good. But Tank Dell was also really good. Without him, it does make this receiving core worse. And going up against a great coverage unit, that is, in my opinion, a mismatch in Cleveland's favor, as is the pass rush. I mean, highest graded pass rush for Cleveland. And, listen, I actually think the tackles are pretty solid here for Houston. George Fant is not a superstar, but there's worse tackles in the league. Tunsil, I think, is still very good. There's some other issues on the inside to look at. I like Shaq Mason, but the other guard and the center position hasn't been spectacular this season with several different guys playing those positions. But, as a whole, there's definitely an advantage, an opportunity there for Cleveland. Also, the running game. Cleveland run defense, actually underrated, hasn't been that great this season, at least PFF grade-wise. So maybe something to note there. Although it's not like Houston's run blocking and running has been graded particularly well either. So, okay, all that being said, let's get into the film. Let's start off with this play, because, hey, these two teams have played each other. Oh, that's great. And not just have they played each other, it was only a few weeks ago they played each other. Oh, wow, what a great game to go back and see how they played last time and learn from that. Well, one slight issue. CJ Stroud did not play in that game. Case Keenum and Davis Mills both were in this game. So because of that, definitely it just makes things a little bit tougher to fully evaluate. But I still wanted to use this game as what we're going to get the film from. Because again, quarterback is still just one player, and it's going to tell us, I think, a lot of interesting things. First off, a play like this, I brought up Nico Collins. He really is kind of their number one guy, and I do think that you could get some one-on-one matchups with Nico Collins. If I'm Cleveland, I'm not even trying it. I don't care that you have faith in your corners. I would still like to double Nico Collins. He is their best player, but right now it's Martin Emerson, who isn't the Browns' best corner, who's going to end up being on Collins one-on-one. Watch as one, I believe this is Mills taking the snap because they went back and forth. It was a weird thing. I don't know what Houston was doing there. But you see Mills is going to take the snap, and is Collins open? Yes and no, right? I mean, he doesn't have a lot of separation, but he is someone who, you can put the ball around him and he can still make a play. So I still would say this is a good decision by Mills. This pass looks to be a bit too far. There was actually a hold earlier on Collins, so it was holding before the ball was thrown, which was not pass interference, but still gave the Texans a first down there. So not able to get an opportunity there. But I do wonder for Stroud, does he do that? Does he take those chances? I think yes. I think he does. Going over to something like this, we did see, though, a lot of what you would expect. Play like this, where it's going to be zone coverage. It's quarters coverage that the Browns are in. Watch as, once again, Mills takes a snap. He runs a play action, looks over the middle. You see where he's looking downfield. He doesn't love what he sees. And this is something we saw a good chunk of. And this is something, quite frankly, we just see a good chunk of in general when you're watching Browns games, is that guys can't really get open. Of course, if guys can't get open, this can leave open some opportunities for, those great pass rushers for Cleveland to get to CJ Stroud. I do think that could happen. Mills, I would say he does the right thing here. He's going to flip the ball here to fullback Andrew Beck, but with all due respect to Andrew Beck, if Andrew Beck is getting a lot of catches, that's a win. As if you're a Browns fan, you'll take, if Andrew Beck beats you, then okay, you'll tip your cap, right? Like that's what you want to do. You want to force them to have to take checkdowns, and again, Mills did the right thing on that one, but that's just what you want to force them to do. Also, something like this, so this is going to be a 2nd down and 11. Again, it's a Nico Collins play. To be honest, this is what the Browns are going to kind of force Houston to do, is throw the ball through a lot of tight windows. You see where Collins is running. It's Emerson, once again, who is lined up on him. Watch as Mills takes the snap. I didn't mean to pick so many Mills plays, or I'm not sure why that happened, but either way, you see that there is is there a window? Kind of. It's not a big window. This is a tough play, but again, Cleveland kind of forces you to have to make tough plays. Mills tries it, and it doesn't quite work there with Collins. Again, who do you want to blame? I'll let you be the judge, but this is just what I think Houston is going to have to do if they're going to move the ball down the field, is hit a lot of these tight windows and make a lot of these tough plays. Is that going to happen? Again, they've done it before, right? There is the potential, and that could be the way that they can make it work. Also, something like this, Cleveland will, so kind of to tell the story about Cleveland, this play is going to be a cover one blitz, actually. So Cleveland is a very analytically inclined team. They are kind of at the forefront of a lot of analytics here in the NFL. And analytics kind of said, hey, play cover two a lot. Have two safeties deep. You do that a lot. That's a good strategy because that's the coverage that tends to work the best. So they tried doing that, and they tried saying, okay, we're going to play cover two zone every play, and then teams said, oh, they're playing cover two zone every play, and just schemed up cover two zone beaters, and were able to have great success on the Browns defense. This is a couple years ago at this point. So since then, they've done a lot, especially this year, of mixing things up, changing up their strategies, making it, so that way they can, not let it be so easy for you to game plan against them. Because of that, you might get situations like this, a cover one blitz, and if you do, maybe getting rid of the football quickly could be a benefit. Watch as right off the bat, Robert Woods is going to be open here, and Mills is going to actually notice this. Mills' throw isn't very good. It's way too inside, but again, can Stroud make something like that happen, throw it quickly and gain some yards? It's certainly possible. And one thing I also didn't mention, Stroud does have some athleticism, and will his legs be a part of how he can potentially move the ball down the field? I can see that happening. So there is opportunities. Again, Browns defense, it's either the best in football or the second best in football. Them and Baltimore have both been amazing this season. If we go to final predictions, their overall season defensive points per drive is second best in the league. Baltimore's is the only team better. Houston's offensive points per drive isn't incredible, 1.89. Worth mentioning, though, again, couple of games without CJ Stroud, that is going to bring it down. First matchup was just 1.25 points per drive, but again, no CJ Stroud in that game, so I don't look too much into that. My prediction is 1.7 points per drive in this one. I don't think that they get no opportunities here, but I'm not expecting like a ton either. The reality is, I think Cleveland's defense is just so good that, I just think they're going to find a way to make things happen. I think that they're going to be able to limit this Texans offense. They're going to force Houston to basically have to make really good plays consistently. And do I think they will do it at times? Yes, I do. Do I trust them to consistently do it? No, I don't, especially with, again, if Tank Dell was healthy, maybe it's a different conversation, but he's not, so that's how I view this right now. So my final score prediction, I am going Browns 24, Texans 19. That would be if it's an 11-drive game. That's what my points per drive would equate to. Because again, that's how I do it. Sometimes people wonder, wait, how do you get some of these numbers? 19. How are the Texans going to get there? Well, it's just because I do the points per drive thing. That's why I sometimes get some wonky numbers. But yeah, I am leaning towards a Browns victory here. I think we saw their offense play really well against Houston last week, and this defense has been very good. So I still don't know what the ceiling of a Joe Flacco-led team in 2024 is, but I think it's at least winning a playoff game because I have them beating Houston, although I do think Houston still stands a chance if they can make some tough plays and maybe win the turnover battle, which, again, that's kind of the case of every team, right? Win the turnover battle, things are changed. My predictions are just that. They're just what I think is probably going to happen. I think the most likely outcome is obviously all outcomes are possible. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.